Hey guys, it's Miss Schaefer. I cannot be there this afternoon because I am chaperoning um, with the CSHS band as they go to their first football game this evening. So I left after lunch today. And so I made this video so we can still take notes and be on track for science. So this lesson is about science lab tools. You should have a notes page there, and this is what we call skeleton notes, where there are blanks that you fill in. You don't have to write everything that you see on the screen. It is just what's in red and underlined is what goes in the fill in the blanks, okay? So let's first remember our champs. Just because I am not there doesn't mean the champs don't apply. So while I am talking or your substitute is talking, there is no talking. If you need help, if you have a question or comment, raise your hand and wait to be called on by the substitute. The activity is to follow along and take notes. You are to remain seated. All must take their own notes and we will have success. So if you have not already, I want you to write the date, title, and page number in your table of contents. If you want to pause the video here, you can pause it and let everybody get caught up. Okay, we're going to start with a flask. Okay, a flask measures volume. It holds liquid. It may be graduated, and the units it measures in is milliliters. And it's liters, not meters, because we are talking about liquid volume. So milliliters. You can pause after each slide to let everybody get caught up with their notes. Up next, we have a beaker. A beaker measures volume as well. It holds liquids, but it has a beak for pouring liquids, and that makes it a lot easier when we're pouring liquids that it doesn't make a mess and dribble down the side. It actually pours out nice and neat. The measurement is in milliliters as well. Next, we have a vial. This holds small amounts of liquids or chemicals. It has a flat bottom, and ours that we use at school do not have lids. They look just like this one, but with no lid on top. So we usually vial, or, you know, all right, now we have a pipette. A pipette moves small amounts of liquids. We're talking droplets of liquid at a time. These are often used to make wet mount slides for the microscope or to just move small amounts of chemicals or liquids as needed. Then we have our graduated cylinder. We use these quite a bit in science. It measures volume. It is the most accurate tool for measuring volume in our lab. You always read it at the meniscus. Hopefully you've heard that word before, meniscus. And here's a picture of what that means. So when you're measuring liquids in a graduated cylinder, you really have to be at eye level and you want to read at the bottom of the curve. Liquids tend to curve on the edges a little bit in graduated cylinders, so you're reading at the bottom of the curve. That's the meniscus. And graduated cylinders are in units of milliliters. Test tube. Test tubes are used to test chemicals, heat chemicals, and they have a round bottom. We don't use them too often this year, but you will in middle school and in high school as well. Now we have Petri Dish. These are used generally to grow bacteria, but we use it mostly here at the intermediate school to hold small things. But when you get to middle school and high school, you'll start doing some experiments where you'll try to collect certain samples and see if you can grow bacteria in them. And it's a pretty fun and gross thing to do. But at intermediate school level, we just use it to hold small things to keep them safe while we're working with them. Next, we have microscope slide and cover slip. Now, the cover slip is not on your notes page, but you could always write it in that area, that extra area you have in that box. So, a microscope slide is used to place a specimen on for viewing under the microscope. The cover slip covers the specimen to protect the microscope lens. So here's a picture here. So this would be a microscope slide, and maybe you put a droplet of pond water using a pipette, and then you're going to cover it with a cover slip so that you don't get the eyepieces of your microscope dirty. Then we have forceps. These are used in dissecting. We will not be doing dissections this year, but you will be doing it next year. We mostly use it to pick up small things. These are not called tweezers. They look very similar to tweezers, but that's not what we call it. This is a science tool, and we're going to call it forceps. And they come all different kinds of ways. Some of them have holes for your fingers like scissors, and some of them look very similar to tweezers, but they are not tweezers, forceps. Then we have the triple beam balance. Y'all should be pretty familiar with triple beam balances. It measures mass, and the units is in grams. These are the ones that we use at school, look exactly like this. And to get the total measurement of grams, you would add all three of the numbers here on the scale to get your total mass. So hopefully. And this is not on your notes page as well, but we do use metric rulers and meter sticks. Quite often measures length. It can be used to find volume of things that we can get. Um, a meter stick is not a yardstick, so don't get it confused. And we use metric ruler and a meter stick because so we use centimeters, not inches, and it gives us a more accurate result that way. And it's just really important that we remember our measurement that we learned in fourth and fifth grade, meters, liters, and grams. What you need to kind of remember what measures what, length for meters, volume for liters, and mass for grams. Now you are done with your notes, you are going to put some glue at the very top of your page, and you're going to fold it in half and glue it on page 2. After you've glued this down on page 2, you are going to get a crossword and word search based on lab safety and lab tools. And you can use your notes for this. When you're done with it, you can turn it into the bin or into the um, and even if you're not done with it at the end of class, you need to turn it in whether you're done or not. Okay. And I will see y'all tomorrow.